In these series of videos, I'm going to present some spreadsheets that'll help you prepare for the final exam. The first one's going to be a loan analysis. We're going to work with the rate, the payment, and the NPER functions. And you can see that I have something listed here. I will also post this file as a means for you to walk through as I do it. So the first one here is we want to find out what the annual interest rate of this particular loan is. We have a $15,000 loan, monthly payments of $300, and total payments of $60. So we'll click here and we'll type in equal rate. And the first thing we need is the number of payments, which will be B8. The actual payment will be B6, and the present value will be negative B5. When you're doing the rate or the NPER, you only need to make either the payment or the present value negative. So if we hit enter, you get 0.62. Now that is actually kind of misleading. This is remember the rate takes the number of payments in a year and divides whatever that rate is by 12 or 4, depending on whether you're doing monthly or quarterly. So what we'll have to do here is multiply this by 12. And then that will give us the interest rate of 7.42, which is a little bit closer to what we actually need. Now the next one is the total interest. What's the total interest paid over the course of the loan? And in this one, we're going to use the cumulative function. So we'll type in equal. Now we have to start with the minus, CUM. And since we are interested in the total interest paid, we will use IPMT. And then we will work through what the interest rate is, which was B7. Make sure we divide that by 12. The number of total payments, which is B8. Now that is actually the number of payments. If this was years, then you'd multiply it by 12. And then comma. And then the PV will be B5. Now remember, this particular function does not allow for any negatives within the argument, so you have to put it on the outside. And then comma, and then we want to know the start period and the end period. Remember, with the cumulative interest and the cumulative principal, you can specify particular periods. So we're going to do 1 for the start, and we're going to do 60 for the ending period, and then the type is at the end or the beginning. We'll do at the end. This is a required argument, so you can't skip it. And then we'll just close the parenthesis. And then this will tell us how much interest we paid over the course of 5 years or 60 payments. And then the total cost of the loan, this will be equal to the loan amount that was taken out, and we'll add that to the total interest. So the total cost of this loan was $18,000. So that is if you're looking for the interest rate. The next one we can do is option 2. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer. And here we want to find out what the monthly interest rate is going, the monthly payment's going to be. So here we'll use the equal PMT. The rate will be B16 divided by 12. The number of payments will be B17. And then the present value will be negative B14. And then this will give us a monthly payment of $1,316.14. And I've already done the cumulative interest rate here, but this is the actual interest rate. I keep saying interest rate, it's actually payment. The total interest is independent of what we have calculated up here. So whatever we put here, you'll notice there was no error or anything since I did not have monthly payment. So this function, the cumulative function, actually does calculate the payment and does all that math for you. Now the last one we can do, you'll notice we have an error here. So because we don't have the number of payments, so we're going to calculate that, and that'll be equal NPER, and we will work through the arguments as we've done before. So this will be B25 divided by, now here we're going to be careful. When I first did this, I divided by 12, but we have to look over here. We actually have a quarterly payment, so we have to divide by 4. So you want to pay particular attention to whether or not the loan is paid quarterly or if it's paid monthly. So then B24 is the payment, and then negative B23. This will allow us to calculate the present value as a negative number. And then once we hit enter, we'll have 27 payments, and then it actually does calculate the total interest, because this does require that we have this information plugged in. Now notice I've rounded the cell for B26, and if we just expand that, you'll notice that it's actually just a touch over 27. So in essence, you may almost want to do a round up to get the next month. So that is working with loan analysis. Just to do a quick review, we did the interest rate. The key here is make sure that you remember that when we use the rate function, that gives us that periodic interest rate, not the full annual interest rate. So we have to multiply by 12. The monthly payment, which we've done a number of times, and then finally the total number of payments. So that is the first part of the review for the loan analysis.